folks, welcome to Thursday. It's Thanksgiving. I'm not really celebrating, but I am cooking, so um, thanks for joining. 6 p.m. New York City time. I just took a walk to H Mart. Originally was going to go to Home Depot, but it was closed. So was Marshall's, but H Mart is open. Um, and most of the grocery stores were, but I guess the less essential stores were closed for Thanksgiving. So it was a really lovely walk outside because I guess everybody's home with their families, and so the streets were way less populated than normal, and it kind of gave me flashbacks to the beginning of COVID shutdown, where the streets just felt like kind of almost ghostly. But because New York City is so populous and overstimulating all the time, I remember really, before all the people started dying, obviously, and things started turning just unexpectedly horrendous. I think I really had a period of like 2 months where I really kind of enjoyed the slowdown of the city, and I got a taste of that again on my walk today, so that was nice. Um, I have some sweet potatoes that I was just washing. I'm gonna instant pot those and steam them so that we have mash. Um, then I'm probably gonna make this kitery blend. This is from Burl Up and Barrel's new Spice Club exclusive. It has basmati rice and red lentils with a lot of spices. And I also have some lentils that I soaked, and I have some kale that I can cook. So we're gonna make two kinds of lentils today, and instant pot my sweet potato, and I'll show off my grocery haul just now. I think I spent like $8 something at H Mart, and then I spent like, I don't know, $6 or so on fruits. So yeah, just another chill night. I guess it's Thanksgiving, but doesn't really feel like any different than my normal life, which is to say I live a very blissed life where I think, I'm just kind of like half retired all the time now. And it was really chill. I stayed in bed until basically noon today reading a book. Um, this book is called The City and the City, and I think it's by a French author. His first name is China, and his last name is, I think, Mieville. And I gave it a book cover. I don't know if you guys were required to do this in public school, but I remember doing book covers for all of my textbooks because I didn't want to like mess them up, or maybe we were assigned to, maybe it was like mandatory. In whatever case, this book was particularly in bad shape, and I like to read in bed, so it felt kind of gross, honestly, to read a book in this bad shape in bed. So I gave it a book cover out of like a King Author catalog page. So this is the book. I know it's backwards, but it's called The City and the City. And it was a police detective novel about a crime that was committed in this district where these two adjacent cities are not allowed to acknowledge each other's existence, basically, even though they live side by side, and they even have some crossover districts. The citizens of both of these districts are just supposed to kind of like unsee the other city's inhabitants, even though they may be like mere meters away from each other. And I was very interested in this book because I was interested in the author. His politics seemed very interesting, and I picked this one out of all of his books. He apparently specializes in this genre called weird fiction, but I picked this one because apparently he wrote it for his mom, who was terminally ill. And I thought, wow, that's a really special motivation for writing a book, to like write it to fulfill or entertain or like satisfy a loved one, a very primal, near and dear loved one who might or might not be dying soon. But anyway, that was the book that I finished, and it took a while for me to like get into it, but it kind of became a page turner for me. He uses language in some like sort of unconventional ways, and it was very interesting to kind of see almost like this sort of, it almost read to me like as grammatically incorrect, but it made most sense in most instances. And apparently this book won a lot of awards, so it was just very, I think it's been a while since I've read like a genre fiction like this, so that was fun. And I have another book that I took out that I haven't started yet. It's called The Undying by Anne Boyer. I think she wrote this when she was diagnosed with cancer, and it kind of it's like a memoir that basically details her trying to navigate the healthcare system and, you know, keep herself from perishing from cancer. Anne Boyer is a poet who was apparently, I think she was in charge of the New York Times poetry section, and she resigned. Maybe 2023, 2024, over the fact that the New York Times was completely complicit and, you know, doing all sorts of fake news to generate consent for genocide. And she quit. She up and left. And yeah, very interesting people. So I look forward to cracking this open soon. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands and get started with cooking. One shift that I've been observing in myself lately is, I think like 2 to 4 months ago, I was really on this trend of going to the Salvation Army weekly because I really enjoyed like thrifting. And I feel like in the last month, I've seen that desire dwindle down to almost nothing. I used it to like be a motivation for getting myself out of the house. But I think lately my house has felt like such a mess that it's not even like it's dirty or anything. I mean, it's got a lot of cat fur. But I think most of the time I'm just looking around and I'm like, there's so much clutter. And I was like, ever to fix the clutter, it just goes back to being cluttered again. And I realized that it's because, I mean, I've realized this years ago and constantly, repeatedly, but it's because I have too much stuff. And I should just stop buying shit. Like, it gives me headaches. Why am I doing this to myself? Anyway, that is like a really random, repeated, repetitious thought, you know, because I used to move so frequently, trying to find new roommates on Craigslist and all of the troublesome scenarios that landed me in. And I used to be really good at not buying a lot of shit, but I think since settling into this apartment, I've like started buying more shit when I don't need it, and I should stop that. Oh, this is 4 sweet potatoes is a lot. Okay, Gary, we're doing whole sweet potatoes today. So how many minutes in the Instant Pot do you think we need for whole sweet potatoes? Would anyone like to venture a guess? Did that fit better? I hope so. I'm gonna do 20 because they're big. They're kind of big, so I'm just gonna do 20. But we'll see. Cool. Okay, 2 kinds of lentils, and oh my gosh, how lucky am I? I have popcorn to snack on while we cook. Abundance. Abundance. I'm gonna get stuff started on the stove, and then I'm going to read your comments. I'm gonna boil some water for tea. So I think most people like this kitery mix, but we got a few comments from customers on the Burlap and Barrel Spice Forum on our Facebook page about how it was just like too turmeric-y and like too much spice. And obviously there's a lot of spice. There's sun-dried tomato powder, there's turmeric, toasted onion powder, there's black pepper, there's cumin, there's smoked cardamom, black cardamom, and there's coriander. But I was also reading the instructions on the back. I'm not Indian. I don't really know all the variations of kitery, but I feel like the instructions are missing one main thing, which is fat. I would have expected to have this recipe at least call for some fat, but there's zero oil or ghee or anything called for in any of the instructions. It just says, in a medium pot, bring 3 cups of water to a boil, add paro mix and cook on medium for 18 to 20 minutes. Stir until rice and lentils are tender. Allow kitery to thicken. Final consistency should be similar to that of a risotto. Season with salt to taste. There's already salt in here. So the fact that they even said season with salt to taste in a thing that had salt, but zero fat, like there's no instructions for any fat, and I wonder if that's why some people complained about how, like lackluster it tasted, because if there's no fat blooming the spices, that contributes to a lot of like chalkiness almost from the spices, because there's no unfurling, and we're getting some like really awful reviews on our Royal Cinnamon Hot Chocolate Powder too, with people saying it's too spicy, it doesn't taste like hot cocoa, it's like so cinnamony, all I taste is cinnamon. And I think it's because we made the mistake of putting on our label that they can brew with water or milk. In my newsletter, I've only suggested people brewing with milk because that blend is vegan. We don't have milk powder in that blend. Most packaged hot cocos like Swiss Miss, they have some sort of milk powder in there. So there is that like lactose sweetness and fattiness from whatever kind of creamer they put in there. We didn't add that creamer because we wanted to keep it really pure with just cocoa powder, sugar, vanilla, and cinnamon, right? 4 ingredients. Oh, and a pinch of salt, so 5. But yeah, I wonder if we had just said like only brew with milk, if those negative comments would not have happened, because I think people just don't have the cooking experience to know that you usually need some kind of fat to help the spices bloom, and like really release their aromatic nature and all the depths of their layers of flavor. So I'm gonna add some oil to my pan before I cook this. I was thinking about doing a science experiment, but I just want to enjoy my food. But I think it's something to note in the future, like maybe for instructions, don't give people the option of going like the zero fat, low fat route, because they may not know how to like accentuate or fix some flatness in the flavor with a simple addition, So when people complain about recipes being flat, I'm just like, did you salt enough? Did you add enough fat? Like, did you skimp on something? could you potentially add like one or two things that could just make this come to life a little bit more? So yes, that's what I realized. I'm going to chop an onion. Chop an onion. Okay. Think we may need to sharpen Mom's knife soon. I got this onion, 4 onions in a bag for $1. If you're curious about food prices and how I budget, I only buy onions when they feel like a really good sale. Unless I'm really, really in need of an onion, then I don't go more expensive than 99 cents a pound. You know what though? I was actually thinking about caramelizing all the onions. I wonder if I should do that. I don't think I will because I think caramelizing onions causes the entire house to smell like onions forever and ever and ever, and I'm just... I know I would love to caramelize onions, but there's trade-offs. The house will smell like onions, my farts will smell like chemical warfare, and Memo will probably be suffering through it. Sometimes I have one of those moments where we're laying in bed, I'm reading my book, and he's just sitting there, and then I'll smell something really off, and I'll be like, did you fart? And then he looks at me, and it feels like he's saying, did you fart? And I feel like we have one of those couple moments where we're just like thinking that the other person farted. So, you know, I'm basically married to my cat. It's a wonderful life. Onions do give me some kind of burp sometimes. So I might put a pinch of baking soda in there. Interesting. Cut the onions in cold water. Wash the cut onions in cold water. Interesting. Very interesting, yeah. Okay, I never grill anything, and this is really old. I think I got this spice when I first joined Burlap and Barrel, and it says Best by November 2025, so that's right now. So yeah, this spice is 2.5 years old. We still sell it. I just haven't used it a lot. It has black urfa chili, coriander, black peppercorns, chipotle chili, and fennel. This sounds delicious. It's a spicy and smoky grilling rub, but I think it'll do really well with the lentils, my own lentils. So the tea water just came up to a boil. My coworker Jennifer sent me, she's such a darling, she sends me like a goodie box every year. She works PR, so she gets a lot of free samples, and this tea, I've been drinking like 2 bags every day, is one of the goodies that she sent me in her package. I've never had Tulsi tea before. I didn't even know it was a thing. But it has a very kind of smooth, gentle flavor. It's non-caffeinated. It's just been very nice to sip on like lightly flavored water, I think. It does make me feel calm too, so that's a bonus. Alright, I'm gonna put the rest of the hot water in my thermos so that it keeps it warm. Then we can get started. Okay, oil. I have been running out of fats to use, but we'll find something. Oh my gosh, guys. I think this was like 2 years ago. I went to like a weed event in New York City, and a viewer recognized me, and she gave this to me for free. It's weed infused olive oil. I wonder if I should cook with it. It says 2 milligrams per teaspoon. That sounds like a lot. Does it denature the THC? I haven't used this at all, honestly. Oh my gosh. I'm not stockpiling the spices, I swear. It's just I have so many spices to go through. You know what? Let's do it. Happy Thanksgiving. Maybe not. Hold on. I don't want it to mess up the flavor. Okay, let's just go with olive oil on the kitery blend. Not a lot, just like, I don't know, 2 teaspoons or so. And then this is the blend, okay? Just lentils and rice with spices. And I'm just going to toast it lightly, and you can't even see. It's about 2 teaspoons, okay? So we're just gonna toast the spices and the lentils in there. I wanna use Mom's cooking spoon, this worn down little thing. it calls for 3 cups of water. So I'm constantly stirring so that the spices don't get burnt. And the rice is kind of turning a little bit translucent. I have a half-cup measuring cup here. Wow, what was in that? You know what? Start over. There was something floating in my water. Okay. Half a cup. Here's my theory with lentils and rice. I feel like you should always start with less liquid. So I'm actually going to just do 2 cups for now. And once that comes up to a boil, we can add 1 more cup. Smells nice. That spice mix smells really nice. Okay, we got onions chopped. I'm gonna dice up my garlic. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think my last batch of lentils was a little too heavy on the garlic, so. We'll just keep it at 5 cloves. But I will go in heavy with ginger on this round because I want to get ahead of the flu season and just smack some extra ginger into my diet. No, I did not peel it. this is a lot of ginger. This might be like 2 tablespoons of minced ginger. I might have to add something in here to like set off the spiciness. Maybe a little bit of ketchup. A lot of ginger. Okay, then we have our kale from last time that I didn't finish. This has come up to a boil, so we're just gonna stir it and make sure nothing is sticking. And I will set a timer for 20 minutes, which is the higher end. And we're gonna swap these. Put this on the smaller burner. Set it there. Keep this heated. Okay. I'm gonna go in with like a half teaspoon of wheat oil. Okay? You know? Then we're gonna go in with our spicy and smoky grilling rub. I'm not sure if it cooks out the effect. Truly do not know. But it's been 2 years and I haven't used it, so it's time to use it. Gonna add in a little turmeric for health. And does this have black pepper? Oh yeah. I want to cook the onions down, but I don't want the spices to burn, so I'm adding in a little bit of water. Smells like MSG, by the way. Delicious. So yeah, I want the onions to get a little jammier before I throw everything else in. Which means I can show you what I bought. Got 2 slabs of cognac jelly, 150 each. Then I got 4 containers of firm tofu, $2.50 for 2, so this was $5. So this was $8 total from H Mart. I might put a little cognac in our lentils after they're mushy. So I'll keep that out. And look what else I got from H Mart. I got fresh garbanzo beans, fresh chickpeas. I've never seen these fresh before. Do you know how to cook these? I couldn't resist. This was $2 a pound. This bag was 66 cents. And they're so cute. And I don't know, can you just eat them raw? Am I gonna die if I just eat this raw? They don't taste bitter or anything. Oh, somebody said don't. I guess I won't die from one, hopefully. But I'm gonna guess these are like edamame beans. Maybe we can steam them or something, or like boil them. Quick, somebody Google if you can eat raw, fresh chickpeas, so I'd know if I'm dying. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit of baking soda to the onions. Not for flavor, but to kind of like neutralize potential heartburn. It's maybe like 1/8 of a teaspoon. It's foaming up right now. You can see it feels like when you cook meat and it starts foaming. Smells weird, y'all. We'll see. We'll see how this works. Oh, wow. It darkened the sauce immediately. Fascinating. Maybe that was a mistake. We'll see. Baking soda. It did make the whole thing very brown and caramelized though, so I'm gonna just taste a little bit to see what I've done here. Do you see how brown it has become? Maybe I fucked it up, guys. I think it's fine. Alright, throwing in my lentils. So yeah, we can rinse those garbanzo beans and maybe microwave them. I feel like microwaving them will cook them, right? Same thing as boiling. I'm gonna Google that. See if there's recipes for cook times. Very surprising how dark that baking soda made everything become. I wonder what that chemical reaction was. Could be placebo, but I am feeling a little bit funny after eating those onions. Could be the wheat oil, could be the baking soda, or could be both. Let's wash these. Maybe you can see why they call these chickpeas? Don't they look a little bit like the little peeps before they're husked? I mean, it could be tacky to perish, but like people have gotten really famous for tacky stuff before, you know? Where would Kim K be without tacky? This guy is cooking fast. Fast. Alright, the rice have bloated. They look good. I think it is starting to like get a little burny on the bottom, so I'm going to turn the heat off and just keep stirring it. And this will actually make it perfectly mushy-mashy, which is the desired consistency for kitery. I don't know if you guys remember, but I made a recipe for kitery when I was at Delish. I spelled it Kichdi, so K-I-C-H-D-I. There's variations on the spelling for this dish, but it was like truly one of my comfort foods. Because I love mush, obviously, and it blew my mind when I realized that this was like a legit dish, that like all my life I've just been cooking mash mush. And here it is, a cultural staple of South Asia. So yeah, there's some fond happening on the bottom here. I'm just trying to lift it. I just got it in time that it wasn't like burning, but it got very close to burning. So this is definitely a dish where, especially if you're cooking with a cheap pot like I am, this is the IKEA pot. When Aaron and I split up, we split up the IKEA pots, and I kept this one. So it does burn quite a bit, but I'm almost tempted to say this could be done, but I'm gonna have to taste the rice to make sure the rice is cooked. The rice is cooked. That really only took 10 minutes, you know? So, and I only have 2 cups of water in here, so I can still add more. But honestly, this is my favorite consistency of kitery, where it's like still kind of like stay on the spoon, fall off the spoon, and not soupy. But as leftovers, yeah, this would get pretty stodgy. So I'm going to finish lifting the fond off the bottom of this pot, and then I'm gonna put it back on the heat, and we can add in maybe a half cup more water and see. But see, like, I don't trust packaged cooking times, and this is why, because everyone's taste is different. This is why I'm so weary of buying like pre-made one bag meals too, because who knows about how accurate their instructions are, you know? But who knows? Maybe if I made this with the instructions, it would have been okay. Another half cup going in. Give that a stir. This needs a stir too, and more water. I'm gonna turn this off. I like a lot of stirring when I cook my lentils because the agitation as it cooks helps you creamify the lentils. Something that I noticed when I used the Instant Pot to make my lentils the last live was that the lentils never broke down. Even though it was like a pressure cooker, because I didn't agitate it as it cooked, the lentils were kind of like sloshing around in so much water that they were being protected by their skins floating in the water. Whereas if you don't use a lot of water, they have no choice but to like be beaten and crushed out of their skins. So I like to be violent with my lentils for the ultimate creamy mush. Not gonna lie, the baking soda is making this smell real funky. That was maybe a wrong move. Too many variables. I put wheat oil and baking soda in my lentils. Oh my goodness. What am I doing here? I have the kale ready to go to be added in there, but I'm not going to add it until the lentils are creamified and breaking down, because I've noticed that if I add too many chunky ingredients into the lentils, they don't creamify. And I want it really creamy, because I just ate 3 days of lentils and it was fine, it was delicious, but it wasn't creamy lentils, and I really miss that kind of like stick on your palate sort of texture. See, now this just looks very creamy. Okay, the Instant Pot went off. I'm going to turn it off and wait for it to naturally release. In the meantime, let's eat some popcorn. Also, it's really hard for these companies to come up with accurate instructions because depending on the pot construction you're using, the stove, like if it's electric stove, if it's gas stove, you know, like how attentive you're being, all of that makes a difference. It's just really hard to do prepackaged meals. Cooking is really just trial and error and gathering your own set of experiences so that you can gauge food and play with it. And I feel like that's why I'm just so tired of recipes and people asking for recipes, because I'm just like, okay, yeah, but are you gonna be the kind of person who blames the recipe for failure? Mashy mushy. We're getting there, not quite yet. Okay, regarding the chickpeas, I'm going to lift them out into this bowl, and then we can decide how to steam them, because I really don't want a third pot on the stove right now. But potentially, if I move the kitery out of the pot, then I could boil these in that pot and kind of make the cleaning of that pot easier for me. So just trying to do the most economic, easy thing here. Okay, more grocery show-off time. I got this bag of apples for $1. Last time I got it for $1, it was super delicious, so I'm hoping this one will be too. This one has a bruise on it. It's okay. I got another $1 bag with 2 huge Fuyu persimmons. They're also kind of bruised, but I like my persimmons bruisey anyway, with 1 kiwi for $1. Yeah, and this bag is courtesy of my coworker Jennifer. Like, she sent this to me 2 years ago. So she's such a sweetie. So kind. And I got 5 Hachia persimmons for $2. And I picked like the softy ones, but not like the burst in your hand softy ones, because I still had to carry them home. But these look really good and they feel really good. I like it when they're kind of wrinkly and soft like this, because that means they're guaranteed to be sweet. So I thought this was like a really good deal. So yeah, $4 for these fruits that you just saw. I'm really looking forward to an apple, to be honest. I already had 2 this morning, but I feel like I'm on such an apple kick. And I know I have the money, but the farmer's market apples just got too expensive for me. They turned into like $8 or $9 a bag. That's, oh, 2 of them are bruised, darn. Maybe I'll just have to eat these 2 tonight then. You know, so then I get like 4 apples for $1 at the grocery store, which probably not farmed by the greatest labor. And also flavor is probably a little lackluster, but it's like 30 cents for one of these, or $1.30 for the farmer's market apples of the same size. And some of the farmer's market apples are so big, and I'm tempted to buy the big ones, but the big ones are like over £1 each. And the apples are $4 a pound. So sometimes I check out with a big apple and it's like $4.70 for 1 apple, and I'm just like, holy shit. Look who's here. Hi, babes. Damn, these lentils require constant stirring. Turning the heat off, adding more water. Alright guys, let us try some of this kitery made with this pre-made mix. All I added was 2 teaspoons of oil, which it didn't even call for, but I wanted it, so I put it in. Looks creamy. You can see the nice flecks of cumin seed in there. Honestly, the package said this is a meal for 2 people or 3 to 4 for a side. And I could totally see this being for 2 people if you bought it at a restaurant. But like, this is one meal for me, guys. I'm a fatty. 2.5 servings for a container. Each serving is 230 calories. That's without the oil that I added. So technically this bag has 460 calories plus 115 is 560, 575 calories, so almost 600 calories. Definitely over 600 calories with the oil that I added. But I feel like 600 calories is a meal size for me, honestly. Like 3 meals a day, that's 1,800 calories. And then you have like snacks. Then you hit like 2,200 to 2,500 calories. But I guess I'm not active anymore, so it makes sense why I'm getting a little bit fat. Hi, baby. Yeah, you got your food. I have been feeding him the Trader Joe's freeze-dried chicken, which is $6 a bag, I think. And he finished one of those bags in 2 days, so his food budget is up to like $4 to $5 a day. But on that diet, he has not had diarrhea in about 4 days, so that is lovely. I hope it continues, and I hope he can accept that food for a little while longer. I know he gets tired of food, but I really do like the fact that he's not having diarrhea every day. This is really nice. It's very comforting. I think the spices will come through a little bit better once it's cooled down. The bite I took kind of just barely almost scalded my tongue, so it's still too hot. And I definitely don't think it needs more salt. Yeah, if I do eat this entire bag, that's 50% of my sodium intake for the day. So that is something to be wary about. But I will move that kitery out into a jar so that we can boil the edamame, or the chickpeas, sorry. Oh, you should gossip. I'm sorry I'm not reading the comments right now. I wish I could be there gossiping. But I really want to get this food cooked because I get so distracted sometimes that I burn my food, you know? Okay, before I add in any other ingredients, let me just get a taste of this. What you doing, baby? What do you think he's saying, guys? I need to come by you to pick up a jar. You're safe. You're safe, baby. I'm eating 2 kinds of lentils and some popcorn. Here's the kitery that I made from this packet that came with the Spice Club this month. It's really delicious, but it's got a lot of salt, and I'm gonna eat my other lentils too, so I'm gonna put most of this away into a jar for now, because I want to use this pot that it's currently sitting in to boil some fresh garbanzo beans that we bought from H Mart. So that will be exciting too. Because I have never had fresh garbanzo beans before. I might have once, honestly, but I don't recall where. Here they are, fresh. Can you see why they're named chickpeas? Some of them look like the little Peeps chicks, don't they? They're cute. They definitely do look like edamame beans too. Very similar. All kind of like green and fuzzy on the outside. I think I like licking lentil spoons more than I like licking dessert batter spoons. Where are you going? Where are you going? You can't see him, but he's sniffing the recycling. I love the spatula. It cleans everything off. Okay, now I'll just rinse this and we can boil our chickpeas. I put about an inch of water in here, and some of them are going to boil that touch the bottom of the pot, and some of them are just going to steam. I guess I will do them for 15 minutes since I'm starting them from cold. Oh gosh, there is lentil splatter everywhere. How did I not see that explosion happen? I'm gonna go see if he wants more food. BRB. No, you still have food. Okay. I'm feeling a little bit tired, so I'm gonna sit. And this is the brownest red lentil I've ever cooked, and I think it's because of the baking soda. So if you ever want a brown pot of mush rather than a beige pot of mush that slightly pink warm undertone from red lentils. Add baking soda. We'll see. We'll see what this tastes like. And I'm going to take this opportunity after I taste this lentil to read some of your comments and rest. So fascinating. What is that taste? Wow. Okay. We're gonna add some tomato powder in there. This has tomato powder. It's really delicious. And it has toasted onion, but we already have onion in there. And it has smoked black cardamom. So we could put some of the smoked black cardamom in there too. Add in a little bit of clove for like a hint of sweet. The rest of our ground oregano for a little bit of herb. A little allspice. And some tomato powder. And some smoked black cardamom, which I have not used much at all. Okay, let's warm that up. And I'm also going to squeeze in some ketchup for sugar. And a little bit of tomato paste, because I have it. The tomato paste might help offset the baking soda. And hopefully, so will the ketchup. And if all else fails, we have mayo. And I can also add in a little bit of yogurt to serve. That might help things too. Or mayo. Alright. Okay, now I'm going to put the spices back and sit. Sorry, one more spice. I'm gonna add some fenugreek, ground fenugreek in there. This is gonna give it like a classic curry flavor profile. We'll see what I just did in a moment. Ugh. May have just made it worse, who knows. Okay. Let's read comments and eat kitery. All the way to the beginning. I love how you guys like apologize for either missing the live or being late to the live as if like this is a class y'all signed up for and is getting a grade for. Just happy to see you guys. I'm very surprised there's almost 70 of you here tonight. It's Thanksgiving. I guess we're all just a bunch of loners with no family and friends to go to on Thanksgiving. Chickpeas are boiling. I'm gonna turn that heat down to a low. Weed has a weedy flavor. Wheaty. Interesting way to describe it. Interesting. Seafood boil for Thanksgiving. Where does your friend live? I do think the weed oil is doing something. I feel different. I'm so Chinese, guys. I'm just sipping on hot boiled water. I feel like I'm really sinking into my roots. Burlap and Barrel is capable of better. Yeah, I mean, our spices are good. This is tasty. I think it's hard to make a collaboration. There's like a lot of chefs in the proverbial kitchen when you do a collaboration item, so everybody has different opinions, and technically Burlap and Barrel just supplied the spices. But yeah, it is a collab product. It's pretty tasty. I think all the people complaining probably just maybe aren't used to, like, you know, real Indian flavor. Maybe they're used to a more whitewash version of spices. This is like flavorful, floral, savory spices that almost gives off a sort of incense vibe. Not the flavor of incense, but like it gives off the incense vibe that you feel like if you close your eyes and you really took your time to savor this bite, you could be eating it at a temple somewhere, where there's like scented wood being rained upon. So there's like this light, soft aroma of incense in the air. popcorn on lentils. This is a 3-grain dinner now. We got rice, lentils, I guess lentils is not a grain, and popcorn. Coworker Jennifer has the best taste. She is known as the kaftan queen. She wears these gorgeous thrifted kaftans. Impeccable sense of fashion. Alright. I think we can take the chickpeas off the heat because they have lost their bright green luster and is now like that kind of dull mung bean green now, so I think they're definitely fully cooked. I'm mostly swishing them around to make sure that they all got inundated by the boiling water, but also this is helping me clean the kitery residue inside the pot so that I have an easier time washing it later. The boiling water is basically like cleaning itself, and the fuzzy exterior of the chickpea hulls are helping me gently scrub away. Okay, I think it's time to taste our God-forsaken trash lentils now. I can honestly say these look like trash, and they might taste like trash too. We'll see. Doesn't matter though, because I'll still be eating them. Okay. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. I'm also not moving a lot, so I might be frozen because I'm just sitting reading your comments resting. I'm not gonna lie, I've been thinking a lot about like making videos this week, but I just don't think my body has energy for it. But the desire is coming back up. I'm observing and witnessing it, but regarding physical energy and resources, not sure if we're there yet. I really do have to start exercising soon in whatever capacity I can because my joints are not getting any better without it. Although the supplement is helping. I'm taking glucosamine now. But yeah, like once the muscles go, all the joints go out of whack and it just kind of is a downward slope. So I'm gonna try my best to try to be a little more active. Hopefully I'll recover to a point where I could have energy to make videos again. Maybe it's timed and synchronized in some mysterious way with, you know, my spiritual desire to create anything. Although I will say, I was looking back on some of my older videos that I made for myself on this channel, and they were so cringe, guys. So fucking cringe. And I was thinking about, like, is it possible to make stuff that doesn't cringe you out later? In the moment, I truly thought I was being authentic and genuine. But watching it back, I was like, oh my god, shut it down now. I had to X out. Immediately, I couldn't watch myself. So, hey, who knows? If you could only choose one spice for the rest of your life, what would you choose? I don't know, man. Are we counting salt? Because salt is pretty essential. I don't know. I really like coriander seeds. I think they're so beautiful in flavor. They're not very well used in dessert. I could see them being used in dessert though, so who knows. The popcorn is not Burlap and Barrel. The popcorn is Trader Joe's, popped in my microwave. Mm-hmm. I can't tell if that's cat hair or kale fiber. All right. The moment of truth of how badly I fucked this up. Not bad. But either the baking soda or the wheat oil definitely fucked up the flavor a little bit. But it's not bad. Going in with the kale. And I think I might see if maybe stirring in a little bit of sweet mashed potatoes, like sweet potatoes mashed, could help the flavor or not. We'll see. Looks a little bit like Christmas now, kind of. It looks a lot reddish browner on my real life than on the screen. All right, sweet potato. Definitely cooked. A lot of water got into the bowl that I was steaming them in. So let's pour that out. Well, actually, let's taste it. What if it's useful for cooking? What if it's sweet? Basically have sweet potato caramel tea here. Oh God. Okay. Oh, that's so sweet. Wow, that's like syrup water. We could throw that into the lentils. See what happens. Use it. Use it. Wow. I'm gonna take another sip. That's like honey water. Wow, that's so delicious. I wonder if that leached out all the sugars from the sweet potato itself, though. Not doing the cognac today. We've had enough adventure. It's funny, the lentils aren't bitter. I feel like maybe in English, people use the word bitter to stand in for a lot of flavors that aren't desirable, but it's not quite bitter, which in Chinese is cool, which is just like bitter melon bitter, like literally, it tastes like it could be poison. That doesn't taste like it could be poison, but it tastes interesting. I'll taste it again. I'll try to describe it. Okay, let's try to describe this flavor after I take a swish of water. I do like tempeh. I do like jackfruit. I think I cooked with jackfruit on an episode of like mystery ingredient once on Delish. But I don't buy it often because it's such a big fruit, or you buy it canned. Yeah, it's not bitterness. It's got this like stale cologne is what I'm getting, like really settled in cologne residue almost. Almost like you're eating, like you're wetting someone's cologne shirt on your tongue, and your saliva is like soaking into it, and you can taste like the fibers of the shirt cotton along with the kind of like 4-day-old cologne smell. I've never done that before, I don't think, but that is what I am reminded of by that flavor. Of whether it be wheat oil or baking soda, I'm not sure anymore, but that's what it's giving. The kitery, on the other hand, really delicious. I look forward to eating this leftover. I think it's going to be even better, honestly, the next day. So alright, I'm going to spoon a little bit more now that we've added the sweet potato and the kale, and we'll taste that. Meantime, let's check out our fresh chickpeas. Some of them are singing. It's very hot. There you go, a fresh chickpea. Green. So sweet. Wow. I kind of want to haul them out and salt them. Probably won't be buying them again because they don't have that like mealiness that I love. These are like spring peas, you know, they're super fresh. Some are big and some are really small too. But novelty factor, you know? Wow, they're so sweet. They're wildly sweet. I did not expect, I mean, not wildly sweet. They're not sweeter than an apple, but they're sweeter than a bad apple. So I have a small one here, and then a huge one. This is the size of a normal chickpea, I would say. And yeah, they kind of taste like a flourier, like a meal, like a, almost like a creamier soybean. Doesn't have like the crunch. It's a softer soybean. Very similar flavor profile though. So fascinating. But yeah, this is definitely like a snacking food. You know, you're sitting on the table and picking at food while you're chatting with your friends. Like, I would not stand here and just shell chickpeas for 20 minutes to eat 10 bites of it. Not even. Definitely overcook some of them because they're just falling apart in my hands. I guess this is the other way you can eat them. Is you just kind of let your cheese get them out. Fascinating, guys. Okay, I got bored of it. I got bored of it. And that's all I got before I got bored of it. Fun though. Definitely don't regret buying it. That was 66 cents, so. Green chickpeas. Definitely a fine dining item, I think. IDK if you believe me, but that was all it took for me to clean my pot. No soap or anything, just squeaky clean. Lazy girl's guide to cooking. Okay, before these sweet potatoes cool completely, we're going to derobe them and peel them. Where will we store them? In our beautiful glass jars, of course. Still pretty hot. Very hot. Might let them rest. Might not let them rest. Whew.
the part of the orange that comes off of the skin is like not very tasty. I used to save them, but I think I prefer just the sweet flesh. I'm spoiled. Although I am still eating it as I pick it, so. Alrighty, we got sweet potato mash. We can eat them, we can bake with them, we can do whatever we want with them now. Been staring at them all week. Not sure when I was gonna cook them. I'm glad they are finally, at least partially, on their way to being eaten. I think the sweet potato syrup is helping. The flavor is still there. Not as strong though. Let's add the rest of that in. I do wonder if there is a flavor that can like totally neutralize or complement it so that it doesn't stand out as much. Like right now, the problem with a lot of undesirable flavors when cooking is like when they stand out too much and they make themselves noticeable. I think the goal sometimes of cooking is to like make all the flavors melt together in such a way that they become a different entity altogether, in unison. Right now, that particular flavor is like so obvious especially as an aftertaste. It kind of hits me on the second half of the tasting. Yeah, I haven't cooked with weed oil before, so I truly have no idea if this is the weed oil or the baking soda that is having this effect. That was a vicious bubble. I think it hit my chair. Goodness. Might have hit my clothes too, I'm just noticing. Okay. Wow. You bake cheesecake. I'm jealous. I would love a little slice of cheesecake right now. But I will settle for popcorn and lentils and apples. A delicious settle. A blessed settle. Google said to add acid. Yeah, that's if it's the baking soda. We've already added acid, to be honest. In the form of tomato paste and ketchup. But I could try adding a little more. I have some pickled carrots that we could definitely add to my bowl, and we'll see how that helps flavor, if at all. I would say that helped. Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna like throw in vinegar in that pot, but I think I might top every bowl with a little bit of sour pickled things to complement it. Thank you for the tip. Not bad. Not bad at all. Very cool. Cool. Thank you for joining me for shenanigans. I'm glad I got some cooking done. I feel so weird today. 4 out of 5 times that I've thought about the date today, I know it's a Thursday, but that 20% of being completely confused about what day it is because it's a holiday and nothing feels normal just feels like a perpetual mush. It feels like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday just like got smashed together and concurrently are unfolding at the same time. Yes, this was actually a pickled onion jar. I used all of the onions, and there was brine left over, so I just shredded carrots and put it in there with extra fennel seeds because I love fennel seeds. But originally for the pickled onions, it was just like a quick pickle. It's not really lacto fermented or anything at all. It's just I salted the onions and added a little sugar and shook them up, waited for the onions to like drain a little bit, and then I filled it up halfway with vinegar, and then let the onions continue to drain a little bit more of their juice while the vinegar was already added, so that it just kind of melted into this salty onion juice for it to bathe in. I don't really taste the onions and the carrots. I think I made the pickled onions when we made the hummus, if you were around for that live, so it's been a few weeks now. And I just really liked having like a little sour topping, so I just kept shredding veggies in there. Hot. Ooh. Okay, I poured a little bit of the brine in there. That actually helped a little bit. I don't think it's like as sour, but I think it also has the fennel, the carrot, and the onion juice, and salt. So, feels tasty. Group cooking. I think for my next bite, I'm going to see what this tastes like with a little bit of nutritional yeast sprinkled on top. Maybe that could complement the weird baking soda / wheat oil flavor, because they're both kind of funky, actually. Nutritional yeast is like a little bit of cheesy funk, but there's also something very floral about it. So who knows? Who knows? Maybe they could go together and be friends. A little bit of nutritional yeast, a little bit of pickled carrots. We might have something really good. It's starting to build up like a little internal flavor schema where there's actually structure to the flavors rather than the flavors kind of just like falling out of frame and feeling lopsidedly out of place. None of that makes any sense, but that's what it feels like to my brain right now. The pickles are a must. It's edible now, guys. Congratulations, we did it. Wow, we made it, guys. We made it here. Now I'll just have to make more pickled carrots, I guess. Do you have meals or anything you make on repeat? I mean, you've been here for quite a few lives. I think I tend to make some of the same things for myself, right? Like lentils, beans, greens. I like baking cornbread. The sweet potatoes will probably get baked into a bread of some sort. I really want to make granola, but I really don't want to turn on the oven, so maybe when I bake the cake, I can bake the granola. Granola is very tricky though, because I make it, it's so tasty, I eat a shit ton of it, and then the dry oat / granola farts are some of the worst farts. They're probably the second worst farts I can ever produce after onion farts. Onion farts have got to be chemical warfare. Oats, second level chemical warfare, like not as destructive as the onions, but yeah, those two. I don't know what it is about my digestive system. They are like danger level. Yeah, I do like turning on the oven during the winter, so maybe when it gets a little bit colder, you'll see me bake a lot more. But some of the stuff that I've been eating this week, like literally just binging on dried dates dipped in tahini, I have to have some sort of nut butter in the winter to get me through the depressing winter cold months. My brain defaults to sugar and fat. And I used to like, you know, blame myself, hate myself for it because I just binge on it. Now I'm just like, all right, that's what you want, that's what you'll get. And then we just eat it and we try to not have guilt about it. And it honestly feels a lot more peaceful in my life to not have to constantly berate myself for the things that I want. So yeah, just kind of like shedding previous mental narratives, I guess, is the invisible work that's been happening for the most part in my life in these last few years. The internal battle with myself is like big. It's big. I don't think it's snowing outside today. It actually felt warmer than I expected for almost December, which makes sense. But no. It did flurry, I think, 10 days ago in New York, sometime. Cheers, folks. Thanks for chickpeaing with me today. Thanks for lentiling. Thanks for cooking with wheat oil and baking soda and making a mess of it and making it edible again. Delightful. Let's take our meds, vitamins, pills, what have you. Cheers. Okay, I think I'm gonna sign off. I am getting really exhausted right now, so I'm gonna clean up later and hopefully see you sometime soon. We'll see if this weekend happens. And I want to see if where Memo is. Hi. You know that I'm coming for you, right? Hello. Mama. You want to say hi to the people? Hey. Hi. Okay. Bye. Nice yawn. What a sweetie pie. All right, guys. Have a great night. See you.